Sound guy, man. Are you rolling right now? Yeah. Sound guy. Keep this in here, okay? If you guys know what the sound guy did wrong, post it below. I'll give you $1,000.
Hey Foundr fam, welcome back to another interview. Are you ready to watch basically one of our most requested and frankly controversial episodes in our history? Just for context, we did this interview a couple of years ago and I remember it immediately. It caught on fire. Like, our numbers were going off the charts and we made a difficult decision to actually remove this entire video interview because, to be honest, I didn't feel it reflected myself in the best way. And we've never done this before, but the interview was so polarizing that we decided to take it down. But after thinking about it for a while and due to pure demand, we're actually bringing it back. So sit back and prepare for our raw and totally uncensored interview with the one and only Grant Cardone. He really put me on my toes. I hope you guys enjoy this one. You're gonna learn a ton and you're gonna have some good laughs. This was crazy. All right, let's jump in. Hey guys, welcome back to another Foundr interview. Today we're in hometown Melbourne, Australia. And
your hometown?
Yeah,
not
our
my
hometown.
Okay.
And we've got Grant Cardone, serial entrepreneur and real estate mogul. Excited to chat with him. So Grant, thanks so much for taking the time, man.
Thank you, Nate. Thanks for having me. And I've already learned a lot from your sound guy here. I hope somebody figures out what he did, you know?
Awesome. So the first question I ask everyone that comes on, man, is how'd you get your job?
How did I get my job? Which one? Like,
how do you find yourself, doing what you're doing today?
You know, I mean, I don't know which one it is. I run 17 little companies and or partner or collaborate with people in businesses. Also run a household, father to 2 kids and their friends and all that insanity and try to be a husband. So I got a lot of different posts that and most of you out there, can relate to this. As well as for the last 35, 36 years, trying to figure out who I am, what I'm supposed to do. That's been the main job. Who am I? Who am I as a individual dream maker? Like, I've never wanted to be an entrepreneur. What I wanted to do was make my dreams come true. And I think that's gotten me through the cycles of trying to figure out how to become a sales guy if I needed to, or a sales manager, or how do I hire people? How do I organize a business? When do I spend money? Like, there's so many jobs, I don't even know which. I just finished talking to 4,000 or 5,000 people, and my job in that was different than my job with you today, right? My job now is to keep your audience of one person's watching this at a time. That viewer that you're listening or you're watching, you only care about your information. So I got to figure out how to communicate to him, communicate to you, appease the sound dude. Impossible. Okay, and so and then we fly to Auckland tonight. I do a gig tomorrow. In the interim, in the meantime, I got to spin plates, and whether it's the kids or the wife and the relationship, or it's my own dreams. What about my dreams? Because I see a lot of people get lost in what they want to do because of the job. And I know I did from probably 25 till 45, I was in one job. I was a sales guy. I was trying to sell something, get some money so that I could fund my lifestyle. And when I broke out of that and said, no, I got more than one post, that really helped me a lot. So I don't know exactly how to answer that first question that you ask everybody.
Well, how'd you get started? Like, what was your first company? What did it look like? How did all that happen?
My first company was working for somebody else, like it wasn't until I figured out how to make somebody else rich that I could be rich. Like, I hear a lot of guys saying, I don't want to work for somebody else. I don't want to keep making other people. When I became successful in another company and then left that company and went and worked for another company and made them super successful, to the point to where these companies were literally dependent upon me. Like, that's the thing, that's the muscle and the grit, the persistence and fortitude of, like, you know what, my ego wasn't like, I need my name on it, but my ego was strong enough to say, I want to be the best in the company. Like, I want to make this company dependent upon me. The first real job I had was my 6th job. I was fired from my first 5. Fired from my 6th job 6 times, but wouldn't leave the last one. I just would not leave. So literally, like, I'd wreck stuff. I have a terrible driving record, and I was in the car business. And I'd wreck their cars, and they'd fire me. And I'd say, okay. And I had a bunch of other problems as well, and then before I would leave, I would go sell something, and then they would keep me on. Selling something was always forgiveness. So when I finally left that company, they went under. Like, my production was so high that one person leaving, the entire company failed. Went to my next job, which was speaking, consulting, using my sales philosophies and gifts, if you will. And we would go around companies and teach them. And I worked for him for 20 months. I was like the top guy in his company. Now, the reason I'm saying that is that was a job for me, and that was a business. I treated my little department like this is my company within a company. And I wanted to make that company as strong as possible so that when I finally went out on my own, which I was forced to go out on my own. I didn't want to go out on my own. I went out on my own just because there was just no opportunity left. And there was no way for me to score where I was, which I still remember today. It's important to get good people to keep them, that like you got to give them some other pond to swim in. And so when I started my first company, I guess I was 29, that was a company where I was cold calling on businesses around the US and Canada.
And like fast forward to today, collectively, is it 17 companies turn over 150 million?
Yeah, we'll do 156 million. We're on track for 156 this year, plus the real estate. The real estate's another endeavor.
Yeah.
You know, at any time that real estate can just puke big, huge, like $200, $300 million scores. But the real estate's $1.2 billion today. I started with a $78,000 house, $3,000. I started that business with $3,000.
Yeah, wow.
And signed a 30-year mortgage on a house I would keep like 10 months. Yeah. And now that's a $1.2 billion. That'll end up being a $10 billion business. But I wasn't thinking any of this stuff when I was 29.
What were you thinking?
Dude, I was thinking about like, how do I get enough money to pay the bills? Like, the first 3 years I was in business, I made $30,000 a year.
3 years, first 3 years.
The last year I left somebody, I was making 150, 160 grand a year. The first maybe 27 months that I was in business, I made less than 30,000 a year. I went backwards. But the problem was I do what a lot of entrepreneurs do. The mistake a lot of entrepreneurs make is, number one, they never look up the definition entrepreneur. An entrepreneur means someone who organizes a business or businesses and invests money, takes greater than normal risk with money in order to expand or organize those businesses. I wasn't spending money on my business. Like, all I was doing was knocking on doors. It was just pure effort. I wasn't spending money. Like, I wouldn't spend real money until I was 50 years old, about 10 years ago, when a guy said, "Bro, you're not a business." And I said, "What?" And I could feel this. Yeah, I was a hustler. I was a grinder. But I wasn't a business, and I could feel it, you know. Yeah, I was a consultant. I was making some money, like in my 30s and 40s. I made a lot of money, what other people would call a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I was not a business. You know what I mean? I was just.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I was just hustling. Just because you're hustling, everything was a transaction.
Yeah.
Everything was a transaction to get money, pay the taxes, have a little bit of money left over. Everything was a transaction.
Yeah.
And this guy's like, "Well, you know, you're not a business." And I was like, "I know, man, I know. Don't tell anybody. I know that, okay?" Like, I knew it. And because to me, a business is I can walk away from it, it'll still operate. I was a guy. I was no different than when I was 30, just pounding doors. And which was good. And I think a lot of people you don't need to skip that spot either. Because once I put the two together, okay, I can pound the door. I can learn e-commerce. I can be a one product sale. I can sell to companies. Like today, we'll sell a product to a company for 80 grand on a 3 to 5 year contract, 80 grand a year. And I'll switch immediately and sell an $8 product online, or I'll give something away for free. to speaking to 4,000 people today in hopes that I can meet, maybe 40 of them that I can have a partnership and a collaboration with in the future.
So, like you said, 10 years ago, someone said to you, you don't have a business. What changed? Like how have you built what you've built now? Is that when the whole 10x philosophy started?
Yeah, exactly. 10x woke me up. 10x was not for the public. 10x was for me. I was trying to figure out I work hard. I got great products, got a great reputation, great reviews. People like me. They like my content. They like my content actually better than they like me. That might have been an exaggeration. You know what I mean? But even if they didn't like me, they're like, dude, your content's so ridiculous. It's so good. Like whether it's sales, closing, marketing, promotion. And a lot of it, I wasn't even taking my own advice. Like I was giving advice and not taking it. So when the economy crashed, which was, I guess, almost 10 years ago, in America particularly, it was so devastating that if you had any weakness in a business, like every weakness was showed. Warren Buffett talks about, hey, what are you wearing when the tide goes out? Well, dude, in 2008, 9, and 10, when the tide went out, every weakness that I had exhibited, hard work did not leave you less vulnerable in 2010. You could have worked hard and still, you'd be upside down in your house, you could lose everything, your cash accounts are garbage, stock got wrecked, everything, right? So 2010 was really the whisper, you're not a business, son. That was the big, hey, you're not a business. And that's when I made a decision, okay, I'm gonna build a business. First thing I did was flipped everything. I'm not a sale, I realized I wasn't sales first. I could no longer be sales first. I had to be marketing first, marketing and branding. So the 10X thing was really like, hey, you gotta get people knew me in a particular industry. They didn't know me in every industry. So the first thing that I took on was I need to get people to know me in every industry while I continue to knock on doors and pay my bills. If you don't pay your bills, like, you're gonna die. And there was people around me that needed to eat. So I had to keep knocking on doors, spin that plate, not get stuck in it too much, and then figure out how do I market and brand? How do I build a name? Nobody knew me. 10 years ago, you did not know my name. No. People watching didn't know my name. Like, people that are coming on the scene now, they're like, oh my God, that guy, he's got 14 million people following him, blah, blah, blah. But, I started with one follower just like everybody else, and I was the follower. My second follower was my wife, because I created an account for her on YouTube and said, you're gonna follow me. So same thing on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Like, I've grinded for every one of those followers and delivered content to them so that I could scale out to hopefully, rather than being dependent upon one United States of America, hey, how do I get people in Australia to know me? How do I get them to want me to come here? How do I get people in London to want to know me? Canada, South America. Oh, I got to be in Spanish if I'm going to South America. You can't trade in US dollars in Mexico. You need to be in pesos. Come over here, they want to do the AUD. I'm like, I don't want any of that stuff. Just kidding, I'll take it all. Okay, so you got to keep growing. Like, Facebook is growing. They're growing all the possibilities of things they can do with people. So if you want to be a great business, you can't get to a place where you're satisfied. And I had done that. I'd gotten satisfied in my business, externally, financially, but internally I wasn't. And it took the economy just getting slashed that finally, like, okay, I got to change and build a real business here.
And that's when you started really growing your personal brand, 10 years ago?
Personal brand, yeah. That's when I started studying companies. I wasn't studying Gary Vee and Tony, and I'm like, what are the companies doing? When I realized, I think I was in Bogota. I was in Bogota speaking to a church, and I went into the grocery store, and Coca-Cola was there. I don't know why that impressed me so much, but I was like, God damn, Coca-Cola's in Bogota, And then I think I was in Cancun coming on the way back in Mexico, and I was like, oh, Cancun's front and center in the grocery store there. Then I got back to Miami. I was in the movie, and I'm like, Coca-Cola. I'm like, fucking everywhere, dude. They're everywhere. Why am I not everywhere? So all my answers have come to me because I look. It's not really me hearing somebody say something. I'm looking. I'm watching what people do or companies do, not listening to what they do. Because there's a big difference between what people say and what people do. Like Warren Buffett, what Warren Buffett tells people on TV every day and what he does, they're almost like completely different.
Want to get that?
They'll get that. Somebody will get that. I'm not going to get it. April, you're going to get that, right? See, that's the other thing. Like right now, like you got to juggle, dude. Like you got to juggle. You can't. If I get up now and go answer that phone, it's only because I don't have somebody here to help me. When I roll, I got to have a team. Normally, I got 2 other people with me. I got 2 kids in the other room. Their friend, who happens to be here, so we joined up, and their mother's a producer in Hollywood, and they happen to be here at the same time. In fact, the guy, Andrew Banks, that's on Shark Tank in Australia, he was here. We had dinner yesterday, just happened to run into each other. But you got to have a team. Nobody was telling me when I started a business, bro, you need a team. You're going to need a team, man. You want to be super successful? Spider-Man. Spider-Man doesn't have a team, does he? I think he does his own costume, but it's fucking stupid. Like, how can you be Spider-Man and do your own costume, right? I mean, to be Superman, Batman's got a team, right? Superman, he's got a team. Doesn't he have a team? I don't think he does. Maybe he's got a mama. But that's for the comic books, man. You need a team.
Well, that's an interesting thing, right? Because I've like studied you, and I've seen, like, you know, you've got Alan, you've got
yeah, I got Alan on my team.
Yeah, you've got
ALAN on Instagram.
You got the young guy, the president,
Jared Grant.
Yeah. So I'm curious.
I
like,
got Ryan Secco.
Yep.
He was a pilot. Now he's running a $1.2 billion real estate portfolio. I got Sherry Hamilton. I got personal assistants. I got 150. We got 150 employees in Miami. Another 250 in the real estate. That could be 500 easily in the real estate. You know, there's probably 500 employees between the 2 businesses right now. And I'm sitting here thinking, why don't I have 50,000 employees? Okay, I look out here in these windows, Central Equity, okay? I guarantee you that's not a one-man show right there. You don't get your name on a building being one person. This is how the entrepreneurs should be thinking. You guys should be getting all your advice from Ernst Young, these the Packer that owns this place, big baller bastard that he is, okay? You know, billionaire, does the Crown here, does the hotel, the casino. These are players, man. That's who we should be studying. Not every Instagram
guru, influencer.
Dude, please, come on. You can fake that Lambo, right? You guys are buying Lambos. I'm wearing one on my wrist. I'm just saying, bought with passive income. You park in yours in the garage, I park mine on my wrist. And it's total humble brag. Like, people would see this watch and say, you would only know if you know the watch, right? And it's bullshit that I'm even bragging about it right now, but I'm just kind of trying to take out, what are you doing showing off all this other shit? Like, you driving up in a Lambo means nothing to me. It could mean, actually, it could work in reverse on me. It'd be like, okay, no reason to have that car.
So why'd you buy the jet?
It's a good question. That's 100 Lambos. Okay, why do I buy the jet? Because that fucking jet can get me to Sydney, it can get me to Melbourne, it can get me to Auckland tonight, right? It can get me to Fiji. It can get me back to the United States 14 hours. I can be in Miami and get a phone call about a piece of real estate and say, I'll be there in 3 hours. No, man, you can't be here in 3 hours. No, dude, I'm gonna be there in 3 hours. Boom, get on that jet, fire that bitch up. Let's roll. Boom, I'm there looking at the property 3 hours later. So you can't do that in a Lambo. Hold on, let me get in my Lambo. I'll be over there. Big deal, right? Any fake can do that. And it's an indication that you're playing at a level nobody cares about. Warren's not flying, driving a Lambo. Bill's not flying. He's driving a Lambo. He could, right? But how do they both transport themselves to Davos in a private jet? So you see the difference? Like, I am extremely frugal when it comes to spending. Like, I don't have fancy shoes on, I don't mind. I can do all that stuff, but don't do it out of order. Like, you're not going to fake anybody because you're wearing Gucci, or you got an Hermes belt, whatever it is, right? You can't fake a jet, dude. You can buy a jet and keep one in the air and keep pilots and hangars and shit. They ain't no faking that shit. Like, that's not something you can fake out. You can take a picture in front of one. You can charter one once, but you can't fake buying one, putting your name on the back of it. It just takes you to a whole nother level, right? Now, who taught me that? Like, who taught me, hey, go buy a jet? Your uncle's not going to teach you that. Your daddy's not going to teach you that because they don't think like that. Your accountant's going to tell you not to do it. But if you study the most successful people on this planet, regardless of what they tell you, how are they getting around? And so that's the problem we're in today. We're in an environment right now where entrepreneurs listen to everything, everything everybody has to say. I mean, it's great that we have these, right? But there's a negative to having so much content and data. You know, the positive about the internet is the availability of information, and the negative is the availability. I can go in there and tell anybody I'm great. I'm the best in the world, and it's almost like nobody can take that down. I am the greatest in the world, and that's fine if I am the greatest. But if I'm not the greatest, if I'm just a scammer, you know, then that becomes a problem.
So coming back to your team, like you've got this incredible team. What do you look for? Like how do you find these incredible people? How do you keep them motivated?
Yeah, well, I don't find them, and they find me, and so what we do is we get the beacon. The you know, how does Facebook attract talent? You know, they don't need to go find them. It's like meat to a shark. You know, it's like I'm coming. I smell the blood in the water. So they're going to Facebook, right? How do you attract great talent? This is what people ask me every day. How do you attract great people? Dude, get so freaking beaming hot white light that people are like, I want to work on that project. I went and saw Hobbs and Shaw last night. It did $333 million. It's got Rock and Stay the Minute. $333 million opening weekend worldwide. $333 million, dude. Like, ridiculous. Great movie, by the way. I had a blast watching it. But, you know, how does that much money go to one place? How did that many great people work on that movie? You know, because who's involved in it, right? So, you know, greatness attracts greatness. And so these people call, hey, I want to work for you. I had a kid today come on, I want to work for you. It's a good deal. I don't hire people. Like, I'm not the hire guy. I'm the guy that's creating new opportunities, though, that people want to stay. You know, they want to stay in the theme park and become their own show. So if you notice, I show off my people a lot. I don't like keep them behind the scenes. I'm like, here, you know, let's have more than the Grant show. Let's have the Grant, the Frank Kern show, the Brandon Dawson show, the Jared show, the Ryan Secco show, the real estate show. Let's do let's show the G&E show, Elena and myself. Let's bring other people and partners in. Why do I do that? Where am I learning that? Great companies. Great companies grow their brands and scale out and do a lot of different things.
What if you're like in your early days, like
make money,
bootstrapping?
Make money your battle cry. Go collect money. Don't make money, just go collect money. Have a great product, have a great service, over-deliver, collect money, charge for it. This is where me and Gary me and Gary had a cage match. I just beat the fuck out of him, but Gary, anytime, anywhere, okay? But look, most people out there watching this, you need to monetize. You know, this is insanity that you're being told don't monetize your business. If you have a good business, have a good service, have a good product, sell it. You know, but so many guys they're trying these little kid gimmicks. You know, it's fine if my kids flip shoes on eBay. If you're an adult, man, you got to get beyond flipping sneakers on eBay. You need to build a business. Otherwise, don't call yourself an entrepreneur, because that's not what an entrepreneur is. An entrepreneur is not flipping shit on eBay. That's not a business. That's you trying to make $2 on a toy that you bought at a garage sale. It's a different gig. Now, if you can figure out how to scale that, but it sounds to me like you're benefiting eBay more than you're benefiting yourself. eBay is the pimp, and you're basically the prostitute in that machinery, which is no problem with that, right? But you're servicing the machine rather than building your own machine. I want to build a machine. I want to build a machine that lives longer than I do, so that if I get a good partnership with somebody and we cut a deal and they're 90% of the profits in future and I'm 10%, and my kids or my charity get to keep that 10 after I'm dead, man, I'm good to go.
So what's next? Like, you got the jet, like what's next, man?
Man, I don't know.
What's 10X for you now?
10X is, you know, how do I do $1 billion a year in income? And then how do I do $10 billion in real estate? How do I have a $10 billion real estate portfolio? Last month we paid $1.4 million out in distribution. Last month we paid $1.4 million in US dollars out to our investors in the real estate? How do I start competing with these banks? So they're like, you know what? We really don't like all this noise you're making. You're a noisy fucking guy, and we're kind of getting tired of it now. When you get noisy enough, they either buy you and suppress you. You know, that's what Bill Gates did with Apple years ago. The tablet, the original iPhone was a little called, what was the name of that little beast? Anyway, it had a little pen you wrote on it. They buried that project for years. Yeah. I'll think of it in a second. I'll think of it when the interview's over. Maybe you guys know what it is, okay? Anyway, it's probably 20 years ago. I actually had a company built around this thing, and Bill Gates came in, gave Apple, Steve Jobs a loan, and said, look, I'll lend you this money. You got to bury that product. And they did. So that's what you can do. Or they consume you. They buy you and say, hey, we want you to be part of our. So maybe that's what happens, Nathan. I don't know. Get the audio guy to get a good sticker for the mic.
So talk to me about real estate. Right now, what do you think the state of real estate and the financial markets are like?
The entire world should be invested in the United States of America. There's a certain type of real estate in America that is produced no other place on the planet. And until they start building it here in Australia or in London, like, you should be buying real estate that provides housing, a place for people to live, called apartments. In America, they're called apartments, or multifamily, residential, commercial real estate. It's actually a residential place where residents live, but it's a commercial style of real estate. 300 to 500 units in one location. So we closed a deal last week, 507 units. One close, one location. A guy here told me, he's like, I did 500 homes last year. I said, I did 500 last week. I'm just saying. Okay. So in one location, he had to do 500 closings. I did one closing, 500 units. And those people pay rent there. So 500 times $1,500 a month to $2,200 a month. Great property, beautiful location, great amenities. That will cash flow positive. Pay all the maintenance, pay the taxes, property taxes, the roof, the paint, the turnover, the marketing, and still leave cash over for the investors, and pay down the debt. It is the ultimate multiplier for the everyday person. The everyday person is not going to find Facebook or Netflix. Just not. Most people are not going to get there. So this is the perfect investment vehicle for everyday people.
If you're in the early days where you're just reinvesting, you're sacrificing profit for growth, at what point should you look to start to diversify and start to build your personal wealth into property? Yeah,
so that's a great question. One, people should be investing in the beginning and just in themselves. Every chance you get to go to something that could possibly help you, if it has a 1% chance of even adding to the value you have spend the money. Don't sit on money. Money's useless. So if you have $5,000 left in your account, I would spend the whole $5,000 on yourself. When you spend money on yourself, you're going to start getting better at whatever you're doing. If you just keep doing it, if you keep spending it, just because you spent it once and it didn't work, go do it again. And then again, and then again. That has been one thing in my life. Like, if you ask me, hey, what's one thing? I always invest in me first. Not the business.
Not the business.
Not the real estate. Me. My condition. How am I doing? Am I around the right people? Am I listening? I don't care what it is. Dinner, lunch, charities. I just go to anything where I think there's other people doing well. I just want to hear somebody say something that just inspires me.
So how much you reckon you invest in yourself every year right now?
Oh, last year I probably spent, a couple $100,000. I've spent more than that. And I'd still spend more than that. So it starts with me, right? How good a condition I know people out there spend more money on their car than they do themselves. They pay $300, $400, $500 a month on their car and think nothing of it. Won't spend $500 on themselves. It's ridiculous. It's completely backwards. You're paying the man. You're paying for food. You're paying for groceries. You're paying for movies. You're paying for bullshit. You went and bought a house. That was the dumbest thing anybody could do. It's the dumbest thing I ever did was buy a house. I bought a house and I didn't improve myself. I was improving the house. I spent more time picking furniture out than I did, hey, how do I fix me? How do I get faster, more confident? Because I bring my confidence or lack of confidence to every table. Okay, so first thing, invest in yourself. Then the business, as a result of that, the business, wherever you are in the business cycle, should start getting better. When it does, it'll kick out more money. When there's so much money that you can't reinvest that money either in yourself or the business, at that point you're like, okay, I want to buy the third flow, the next flow of income. I would buy cash flow. So I don't know what that number is, you know.
Yeah, because like speaking from personal experience, we've got a great vehicle, which is the business, and it's like, at what, like I could just keep putting it in, but at what time do I look to, you know, diversify
How much money is
risk?
it? How much money is it?
I don't talk about our revenue publicly, but
Yeah, but well, how much
Like
money? How much money are you talking
multi-million
about sitting around? How much money is just sitting around?
I don't really share that.
But dude, why not? Well, I'll share it. I got $167 million in cash sitting in my fucking account right now. I look at it every day. Every day I look at it.
Yeah.
Like if you don't talk about money, you can't have it. You should talk about money. Everybody, it's all bullshit. People say don't talk about money. The IRS, who's the IRS in this country?
ATO.
They know. ATO knows. Fuck. If you'll tell ATO you hate their guts, why wouldn't you tell me? Fucking tell me, how much is it? What's the number, man? Come on, Nathan. Come on. That's why we're doing this, Nathan. Tell me. You're a bitch if you don't tell me. You're a bitch if you don't tell me. You can't cut this out, by the
Well,
way.
we can't even know.
How much is it? Is it?
More.
I gotta know. Now you got me
no.
interested. So, because this is gonna be really important for the audience, okay?
In the
Because
business,
you gotta get that money.
In the
working.
business, let's just put it this way. In the business, we've got great cash flow reserves.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And do we take it out?
What for? Have you? How much of those?
For risk.
For what risk? How
Never
long have
know.
you been in business?
6 years.
6 years, dude. In 6 years, just look back over the last 6 years. Because I did the same thing. I had all this money sitting there for the thing that was going to happen. Okay, if you believe in the law of attraction, you're planning for the thing, and it will happen. Like you're planning for it, it's going to happen, right?
Oh man, we're pushing hard on growth too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know,
Well,
like-
good, but
like
at
we
some
just
point,
have
you know
office
you
in
can
New
only
York,
spend so
like-
much. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, I can't spend any more here.
We could spend more.
You could?
Yeah.
Well, then there's your answer. Spend it, dude. Don't sit on it. You have no reason to have a reserve. Why don't we spend those reserves? Because
Yeah,
you're
why?
a little bit of doubt. Little bit of doubt is going to pay off. See, you start believing in the money more than the right. You start believing in the money more than the possibility.
I hate risk, man.
Huh?
I hate risk.
I hate risk too. That's why I buy the kind of real estate I buy. Like every day, the first sheet of paper I get every day is how much cash I have. The reason I'm looking at that is not bragging rights. It's because I want to get rid of it. It's like trash. I want to get rid of this money. I want to get that money to buy something that has babies, right? So every day I'm looking, I got to get rid of this cash. I have this much cash. I want to push it. Money's being devalued worldwide right now.
So answer me this. Right now, you said you have almost 500 employees. You have in all of those businesses, you have no cash flow reserve. So
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say I had none.
Okay.
But I don't need $167 million.
Yeah.
Like
Is it like 6 months worth? 6 months
yeah,
worth
yeah,
of
6 months would
break
be
even?
awesome.
Yeah.
6 months would be
Yeah.
awesome, dude.
Yeah.
6 months would be massive amounts. Yeah. But do I really need 6 months if the other businesses are kicking cash off? Right? See, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to take a bunch of these businesses and find one that I know for sure if the world gets cut in half again, which it will, and it'll be hard and brutal, terrible. It's going to be awful. Probably robots are going to, accelerate that. Mm-hmm. And then I want this other business that will benefit from this downturn, that will continue to spit if I'm alive or not alive, or if the economy gets crashed. I'm looking for that place that can allow me to walk away if I choose to from these other things that maybe don't work as well. All businesses have a life cycle. Used to be 80 years, now it's like 8. So, the great companies used to be around they dominate. Ford Motor Company is probably not going to make it. I mean, I hate to say that, but I mean, it could happen.
Yeah, there's that cycle.
Yeah, exactly. So particularly these companies that are being created today, they're going to, most of these companies are going to last 8 months, year and a half. Everything's going to get morphed. Who would have thought taxi cabs would be non-existent one day?
Yeah, crazy. So look, we have to work towards wrapping up. Mindful of your time, man. So a couple more questions. I'm really curious around just this 10x.
That one. Sorry, there you go, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really curious around this 10x philosophy and like if let's just say you're trying to go 10x, right? Like you 10x your goals. How do you know that that's just not unachievable?
It isn't. It is not. It's not achievable. But it's worth it. It's not achievable. You got $4 or $5 million sitting in an account today. What if you had 50 million? You're like, oh, it's not achievable. Okay, but it's worth fucking going for it. It's fun shit, man. Tell me you wouldn't be happy with 50 million sitting in a bank account figuring out what to do with it. Right or wrong?
Gross.
You'd be like, dude, I can make a move now. I can make a move.
I'll buy a jet, man. I'll buy the jet.
No, you wouldn't buy a jet. If all you had was 50, you wouldn't buy a jet. Shit. So like you guys out there like, oh, who needs 50 million? No, nobody needs it, man. But somebody is going to end up with it. People actually end up with this much money. And the problem right now in the world is nobody's thinking about, God, why can't I get 50? Or why can't you scale your businesses to where they're in New York, they're in London, they're in wherever you want them to be, where your companies could hire tens of thousands of people. Why not Nathan? Why not Grant? Why not you guys? And you could change the world. So all these people that tell me, oh, money ain't gonna make you happy and all that shit, I said, you just gave up, man. You gave up on big geek goals and dreams, just like I did. I gave up on them for 20 years to pay the bills. And I shouldn't have. It was the biggest mistake of my life.
Awesome. Well, look, man, thanks so much for your time.
Appreciate you, man.
Absolute pleasure.
Awesome.
And yeah, we'll speak soon.
Okay.
Hey guys, hope you're loving our videos and that you're getting heaps of value from them. If you are, make sure to hit the like button and make sure to subscribe to join the Foundr fam. If you did enjoy this video and want to continue to master your skills, make sure you click here to access your free training now, where we'll go into way more depth with this founder.